Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Adam from Spiritus Systems. And today we're going to be talking about the UCAS standard. So if you just joined the channel or if you're just new to the brand, you might not know what it is. UCAS, Universal Carrier Attachment Standard. This is a project that we worked on with the government and with Ferro Concepts. And we're going to talk all about it. You know, where is it? Why? All of those questions, we're going to answer them. So the first thing that we want to talk about is, what is the UCAS? So it's very simple. UCAS is just a set of standards that we're trying to establish that dictate attachment methodology for plate carriers. So what does that mean? It means like what style zipper, what size zipper, what length of zipper, you know, for back panels. Like how does that stuff attach to the rear of the plate carrier? And then for placards, it means like how do we attach it to the plate carrier? Is it buckles? Is it G-hooks? Is it Cobra buckles? Is it all of the above? What are the measurements? How tall do things need to be? How wide? Stuff like that. So pretty simple explanation of what it is. It gets a little more complicated when we start talking about the actual measurements and standards, but we're going to publish those when it's ready. So don't worry, it's going to be available to everyone. You'll be able to get it off our website, off Ferro Concepts website, and anybody who adopts it can also publish it to their website as well. Why is it important is a question that we're getting often. Well, we think that it's important because your end user, right, your professional end user, currently is siloed into whatever system that was purchased for them by their department or by the US government. So they buy a Spiritus plate carrier and they're going to use that for, you know, maybe the next 5 years, maybe longer. And you know, there's chances that maybe the thing that we build is not the perfect solution for whatever they need. There are a lot of scenarios where a customer might come to us and ask us to do a project, but we just don't have the bandwidth to do it. So they're just kind of stuck. If they have our carrier and we had a proprietary zipper or a proprietary methodology for attaching things, they would just basically be out of luck, or they'd have to find some custom solution or somebody else who's willing to adapt their concept to our plate carrier. Whereas, you know, if there's a universal standard for attachment, then they can just shop around, right? There might be a back panel from another manufacturer that could just go right on our plate carrier and would work just fine. It also opens up the market for other brands. Brands that are maybe just starting off, right? It gives them kind of some bedrock to attach to. So they can make their placard, right? Maybe they only make placards, and it can attach to all of the different plate carriers that have adopted the standard, so that there's more of a widespread you know, adaptation of their product, so they can kind of put it on anybody's stuff instead of having to choose which company they're going to align with. So that's why we think it's important. So how did UCAS come about? This is another question we've been asked a ton. Like, how did this actually happen? Well, if we back up in Spiritus's history, if we go back 3 or 4 years, we had approached the government, a very specific organization, and we had basically pitched this idea. It wasn't called the UCAS at the time. It didn't even have a name, but we just, you know, we were already having this kind of a conclusion that we should just be aligning with other manufacturers. And the only way that you can really get movement or traction, you know, with a decision like this is to have some kind of stakeholder that can either enforce it, mandate it, or request it from other manufacturers, because there's just not a lot of reason for most manufacturers to change everything they're doing, including Spiritus Systems, to align with somebody else's zipper, right? So Ferro Concepts had a zipper, Cry Precision had a zipper, Spiritus had a zipper, you know, whoever else had their own zipper. You know, there was really no motivation to just align with just one of those companies. Really what we wanted is to start having as many companies adopt a similar standard, so that, you know, basically the options are there for everyone and we're not pitting, you know, brands against each other. When we approached this organization, they basically just told us like, hey, we're not ready to even look at doing that. Like, we're not ready to ask other companies to change their standards. We're not ready to like adopt a new plate carrier. They were really just looking for industry to adapt their designs to the SOCOM issued plate carriers, right? That's what they were looking for at the time. So we curbed the idea, and a couple of years later, we were approached by another organization, and they were working with Ferro Concepts as well as us. And we kind of brought this up again. We said, hey, there's opportunity here for both companies to be selected for different segments of this organization's supply chain. You know, we really need to align on how we're going to attach things. So that's how it came about. The government, Ferro Concepts and Spiritus Systems all kind of working together to solidify a standard. And that's what we're working on right now, is just kind of finishing that up so that we can publish it to everyone. All right, so another question that we're getting a lot is what products are we going to make that are UCAS compatible? So all of our placards, all of our back panels, very easy one to answer. Anything that attaches to the front or the back of the plate carrier will, going forward, always be UCAS compatible. So another thing that people are wondering about is the timeline. We're getting a lot of other manufacturers, and they're like, hey, you guys talked about this at SHOT Show, and we still don't have the published standard. Unfortunately, things always take longer than I would hope. But we have to have 3 parties in agreement in a line, kind of those original 3, the government, Ferro Concepts, and Spiritus. We have to all align and make sure that every variable is accounted for, at least as much as we can. The thing we don't want to do is we don't want to release a standard to the public and then have to revise it, 3 months later or something like that. So we're kind of waiting on, really on the gov side, we're just waiting to kind of finalize some of that, and then we're going to release the standard as soon as possible. You will know, we will launch it, both Spiritus and Ferro Concepts. We'll put this on our socials. It'll also be available for download on both of our websites, and then it'll just kind of spread after that. So for all the manufacturers out there, I know people are wondering who can be involved and who isn't involved. Really, it's up to you. We can't force anybody to adopt the UCAS standard. We obviously hope that you will. You can be involved, anyone, biggest companies, smallest companies, it doesn't matter. Anyone can adopt the standard. It's going to be open source. We are not trying to monetize it. We're not trying to go at it from any angle besides allowing others to use it as well. Like I said previously, I think it's just good for our industry to move forward together, and so that everybody can really align on how we're going to attach things so that we can share the pot, right? The proverbial pot. So everyone has a chance at getting their system adopted and then getting accessories adopted, and the end user has a really wide selection to choose from. So another question we're getting is, how come Spiritus Systems changed the number 8 zipper to the number 10 zipper? And it's a great question, because it could have just as easily have been Ferro Concepts who changed their zipper to the number 8 zipper. And there were a lot of variables in deciding this, but let's talk about zippers for a second, right? So the Spiritus, the old zipper, is our number 8. It's a Vislon zipper. It's very similar to the number 10 zipper that we're adopting, the same one that Ferro Concepts is using. The zippers really, at face value, there's really not a lot of difference. Generally, when you go up in size with a zipper, you're getting more shear strength. Maybe your slider is a little easier to slide, or maybe not. It just depends on the type of zipper. But really, when you go bigger, you're trying to get more strength. So there's certain applications that need a very, very heavy duty zipper. Think a duffel bag that's going to support a lot of weight, right? You don't want that ripping open. If you put a very small zipper and it has any kind of shearing, it's just going to pull that zipper apart, and the teeth aren't going to hold. So the bigger you get, the more strength that you have. The reason why we selected the number 8 is because it was kind of striking a balance between having a chunkier number 10 or having a too small number 5. So it was kind of in this middle ground of what we found to be strong enough. The slider was the thing that I enjoyed the most. It just has a very smooth slider on it. So that's why we chose it. But quite frankly, in our opinion, design-wise, it doesn't really matter, right? It didn't really matter. We could have just as easily chose a number 10, we could have chose whatever zipper that we thought would have been appropriate. How our back panels were attaching, we didn't need as long of a zipper. There was just a ton of design variables that we were considering when we chose the number 8. But now, many years later, almost 10 years later, things have changed. Our new plate carrier is different, and we wanted taller back panels. All of these things kind of fell into place. So we agreed with Ferro that we would change our zipper. Another big point there is that we were in the middle of designing a new plate carrier. So it kind of made more sense for Spiritus to change our zipper because we're in that design process already. We're going to be creating a new product. So adopting that zipper was it was just kind of the right answer at the time. And then finally, from a Spiritus Systems perspective, somebody has to compromise when there is a big change or something disruptive that's going to happen. And somebody had to, out of the 3 parties, somebody was going to have to choose. It could have just as easily have been Ferro Concepts. It just happened to be us. So it's not a big drama. There's nothing crazy about it. There's no secret to it. It's just, we decided we were going to change, and now we're going to have the same zippers. So all the back panels are going to work together, and it's great. I do want to point out that anybody who has bought our products in the past, they're the ones who are making a little bit of a sacrifice for this new standard, right? So you are. I mean, we are totally aware that if you have our old plate carrier and you just never got around to buying a back panel, that you're kind of obsolescing out of that system, and we're just not going to have those panels available. So we hope that you're going to join the 120 crew, but also there still are those back panels out there. So if you're watching this and you're in that boat and you just didn't know this was happening, hop on all of our distribution websites, OP Tactical, SKD Tac, whoever, and snag yourself one of the back panels before they're kind of go the way of the buffalo and they're just not available anymore. So finally, and probably the most important part of this video, is who benefits from UCAS? Really, it's the end user. That's why we did it, right? We didn't do it because we're friends with Ferro Concepts. We didn't do it just because one military organization wanted to have the choice to use either or back panels. We really did it because it was the perfect opportunity to get buy-in from another company that we respect, and then a government entity that we respect. Those are 2 powerful organizations, and then with us, there's 3. We're hoping that there's enough horsepower now that other companies will start to adopt it as well, because it's for the end user, right? And if you can imagine, if you're a professional end user and your department issues you, an LV120, and then it also issues the back panel from Ferro Concepts that you love, because that's the right answer for your organization, that's a win, right? And it's also a win if Shaw Concepts builds the best placard that your unit specifically needed. And so you can stock all of these competing brands without having to adopt just one system, right? You really can get exactly what you need and then adapt it to the plate carrier that you have, instead of being siloed into one manufacturer for the life of your contract or your vest. So the end user, we did it for you. There you have it, guys. We did it all for the end user, and we're happy to do it. To be honest, it's the right answer, and the whole point that Spiritus Systems exists is to make gear for that guy. So we were happy to do it. We're glad that it's here. We're excited to see all the variations of kit. We've already seen guys with an LV120 front and a Ferro rear and a Spiritus placard and a Ferro back panel, all sorts of crazy different amalgamations of our stuff. So it's only going to get better as more companies adopt it. Like I said, just keep in tune with our socials. When we release the full standard, the text will be available to anybody who wants it, like I said before, and we will be doing a video on it to help explain and guide as best as we can, so that you have all the tools and resources you need to be successful. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.